Welcome back to Sport Lab, your go-to for the biggest stories in football. Today, we're heading to the Emirates, where Declan Rice delivered a moment of magic to seal Champions League football for Arsenal next season.
Luke, what's your thoughts on that game? You seem to be the better side in the first half, but just didn't take your chances.
Yeah, I think that you've summed it up nicely. I thought we were really good in the first half, really strong attitude to the game, really imposed ourselves on the match. Created a number of chances. Their goalkeeper makes some great saves. We're frustrated we probably didn't take one or two of those big moments. Yeah, I mean, the second half was slightly different. I thought we defended pretty well though and kept their chances to a minimum. Nick's made a couple of saves, but the goal that won the game I thought was an unbelievable strike from that distance.
Your record without Isak this season, I'm sure you're aware of it. He's scored one goal, none in open play, and haven't won any of the 4 games he's missed. That sort of underlines just how important he is to you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one to sort of go too deep into that because the standard of our performance today with him missing was still really, really strong. We did create chances. We did look really good in almost every phase in that first half. Yes, the final action, which is he is probably better than anyone at, or has been this season. I think he's been a brilliant finisher for us. But unfortunately, from Callum's viewpoint, none sort of fell to him. It was more, I think Bruno had a big one and Harvey's had his shot, and then of course set plays were a big threat for us. But it was a really strong performance in his absence. I think that has to be the confidence lift that we need when you review this game.
Thank you. Thanks, Luke. George and then Lee. George.
On that subject, can you just fill us in exactly how he is, please, and will he be available for?
Yeah, that's unknown. I don't know at this moment in time. Yeah, he only felt pain really after training. He felt fine during training, and then just a bit of stiffness really. So he went for a scan this morning, really purely as a precaution. But then it became obvious he wasn't going to be fit to play. So I don't know. I think a lot will depend on how he reacts in the next few days.
And is this the same groin problem that's been sort of troubling him for a little bit?
Yeah, I think he's had a couple of groin issues off either side. I think this is one that he had earlier in the season.
And sorry, can I just ask, I mean, you've been saying for weeks now that it all goes to the final day. I'm sure you've been looked to been proven wrong. But just tell us about, your mood, the mood of the players in the dressing room. You have already won one cup final this season. I'm sure you'd like yourselves to win another. Yeah,
I think my mood is always the same after we lose. I'm disappointed, I'm frustrated, and it takes me time to sort of get out of that way of thinking. I think I will look back with positivity from the game, though I know I will, because there was so much good to take from it. Yeah, I think when you then look on to the next game, and we know what we have to do, and it's not going to be easy, but our home form has been strong. We've really enjoyed playing there. The players are used to big games. There'll be none bigger than this, and I'm sure the Newcastle supporters will make it an unbelievable atmosphere for us.
Thanks, George. And then Scott. Did you see this as an unexpected bonus to finish second, or do you think the players sort of were ruthless enough in that first half to really demonstrate what an opportunity it was? Because you could be walking out here as runners up today. Yeah,
I think we knew all of that, Leo, but it's you can't focus on that. You just have to focus on trying to win, and we did. Yeah, but you could label that at us today. We weren't ruthless enough because the chances were there, but we didn't take them. Sometimes that happens. But it wasn't for the want of trying. Everyone was giving everything. Everyone went to the end of the game. There was no inch given by us. I thought we were really, really strong mentally today. It was not easy dealing with Alex's absence this morning. But there was no hangover from that, I thought, from the players.
I mean, to be realistic though, second would have been very much ahead of schedule, and third place is a massive prize to be playing for in the final.
Yeah, all we're looking at is winning and trying to finish as high as we can, and that's been our really strong way of thinking during the second half of the season. We've had to win a number of games to get here. It hasn't been an easy road for us, but we're still in a strong position, and it's in our hands, and I think we have to look at that as a positive and then give everything in our preparation now. We need to be really focused. This game's gone. We can't do anything about it. Second's gone. We can't do anything about that. We just have to focus on trying to get our game plan right for next week.
Thanks, Lee. Scott?
Just one more on Alex, Eddie. I mean, is there a fear that because the groin has been an issue for a few months now. We might be talking about surgery in the summer, or is that too far in the future to be looking at?
No, I don't think so. This is a surgery issue. I don't think it's something that needs mending. It's certainly probably needs looking at as to why he's getting these sort of groin complaints. But it's definitely not a surgery issue. It's probably more of a what's he doing to strengthen that area issue, which we'll of course look at and focus on.
And you made the changes in the second half, and without wanting to be in any way disparaging to the players that come on, but Willisuda is very, very young, very inexperienced. Lewis is a teenager. Emil's a defender. But does that kind of show where you're still kind of a level below Arsenal, if you like, that depth just isn't quite there yet, and that's the next step for Newcastle to take, for you to be able to turn to the bench and have experienced game changers on there?
Yeah, I think it's difficult because I think as soon as we get one or two injuries, we're stretched, and we've said that I think ever since I've been here, and I think everyone's well aware that we are light. You know, we lost 2 first-team players in January and didn't replace them. That's 2 players gone. And then you lose Kieran and Joe, like we have, Lewis Hall. You notice those players missing, and suddenly you do become, and Alex today, you do become stretched, and then you lose your firepower from the bench to a degree. The players that you mentioned are good players, but they are developing and forging their careers in the Premier League. I think they will be good players. I thought they did well when they came on today. It's no slight on them, but we've lost a bit of firepower.
Thanks, Scott. We'll go to the front row and then finish with Martin Harding.
Hi, there's been a few narratives between Arsenal and Newcastle. One of those has been Alex. Can you guarantee the only colour shirt he'll be wearing here next season will be in black and white?
I never make those guarantees about any player, and it's not to do with Alex's future, but I'd be foolish to sit here and do anything like that. We want to keep our strongest players. I've said that ever since I've been sat in this seat. We have to try and keep our best players and bring in more good players to make us even stronger, because the ambition of the club and everyone connected with the club is long-term success, and that's the only way to try and get that.
Martin.
Can you believe how tight the situation is with 1 point separate?
Yeah, I can. I think it's. I think the prize is so big that everyone's fighting as much as they can for it, and we've never got ahead of ourselves. We've never felt that we were there or the job was done, and I know the players feel the same way. So we've been working incredibly hard to try and get the job done, and now it's going to go to the end, to the last game, and who knows what twists and turns are there for everybody. All we can do is our best, and we gave our best today. That's why there's no criticism of the players. They've given so much this year, and we need one more big effort in this last match.
What do you think would be the key element that can take you back in the Champions League?
Well, I think calmness in this moment in time. It's a week before we play. We've got to be very calm, make good decisions, train well, prepare well for the game. Nothing changes. The emotion will be there in the game. I don't think we have to ramp it up for the players.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Thank you. Nice to see you all. Thanks.
Hi, Sam.
What do you make of the game, and is that a bit of a relief now just to get that second place Champions League sorted?
Yes, that's what we wanted to achieve today. We had a few objectives: finishing second, finishing the Champions League spots, and as well finishing the season in front of our people in the right manner with the right results. And those 2 things have been achieved.
Well, obviously for the players and you need a break this summer, but for the rest of the club, what needs to be done now?
Well, first of all, we have one more game to play, and to finish it in the right way, and winning in Southampton is going to be really important again. And then go on holidays, time to reset first, bring the temperature down a little bit. It's been a long season, and start to think and reflect in everything that we have planned is the right one. Start to make some steps, some action, and come back here fresh on day one, ready to go again.
John, Mira.
Hello, Mikel.
Hi.
On the pitch, the supporters after the game seemed very emotional. It was a very powerful message that you gave there. Can you talk about your sort of, emotions and what you've gone through this season, and maybe some sense of disappointment, but also optimism?
It was emotional because the way I feel, and it's great. We had a dream. I said it out there. It was to deliver a big trophy this season for our people, and because I think that the team deserves it as well in the journey that we've been together the last 3-4 years. we haven't achieved that, and there's a lot of factors and a lot of situations that we've been through for the last 9.5 months for that not happening. But make sure that we still value a lot of the incredible things this club is doing, the team is doing, the players are doing, the way we are competing, and the consistency that we are showing. Because if we are not able to see that, that's a really, really dangerous thing to do. Just expecting just something and playing if we don't, that's a really dangerous thing. And I know they don't want us there where we are now, knocking on the door every year, and make sure that we can see clarity, we stay very disciplined and very clear and ambitious with what we want to do in the summer.
So what would be your overall thought and reflection upon the season when you consider that? When you talk about, we must, as you did out there, we mustn't be blurred in our vision.
I would leave that for the summer. I've done it in the dressing room, and for me it's very clear, but I'm there every day. I know what we've been through for 9.5 months. I know what we've done. I know very well the history of this Premier League and the teams that they've been not in 30% of the situation that we've been in. They have collapsed, completely collapsed, and we haven't. And I really value that because that shows that we have built something that is very, very sustainable and consistent, regardless some people doesn't like to see it.
Simon, standard.
Mikel, we heard from Josh a comment before the game in the programme talking about the plan to invest this summer and win those major trophies. Do you feel going into that window you've got the backing from the owners that you need?
Yeah, but that's not something new. I think they always back the team, the club in the best possible way, and it's not going to be different in the summer. We have to be very smart with the decisions that we take. Obviously, we need players because the squad is really short, and on top of that, we are losing 4 or 5 players that they're going to end contracts, and the loans are finished. So we need to be sharp. Again, very disciplined in what we want to do, and make sure that we are stronger next season.
Does the fact that you now officially got that Champions League qualification mean you can literally tomorrow start executing that plan because financially you know where you're going to be?
I mean, the plan is done, and the time will be dictated by many parties, many circumstances that unfortunately we don't control. But we have great people in charge of that. Andrea is going to be leading that with the board and ownership, and as well make sure that the ones that we have, they feel valued, they feel loved, and we make sure that they want to continue with us in the right manner, and then the whole environment that is excited, that is not just about now if we next, because we cannot start a season like that, and I want to feel that from day one, and I'm going to be very insistive of that.
Yes, and Daily Man.
Of course, injuries have been a massive part of your season this time round. So you said on TV about injuries at other teams, and there's teams that finished 16th and 17th in the...
But not this season, and in previous seasons, in the history, and 8th and 5th, missing 1 or 2 players only. Yeah.
So you said 16th, 17th, was that Spurs and United?
No. That was in the past. In the past. And in the past, in 5 years ago, 10 years ago, look in the memory and see what has happened in this league.
Do you think next season, without such injuries, obviously...
I don't know. I will try. When I can promise, I will do my very best. I will live my life here. I will give everything. I will get every drop of everybody there, squeeze it to get the best. But promise, I cannot promise. Any manager is going to promise tomorrow, next season I'm going to be in the Premier League or the Champions League. If I have to do that, I don't do it because I cannot promise anybody that. My best and the best of these players that are going to try and go mad chasing that, I guarantee you that that's going to happen.
Tom, Club London.
Mikel, we've highlighted there the difficulties that we've had this season. When you were at Union Chapel last night and you walked out on that stage with the fans that were there, I was lucky enough to be in that room and hear that noise. Do you get the sense that those fans that were there so close do get the sense and have that belief that we will go again, or they will go again next season and be able to do it? Yeah,
it was a really special evening. I was very lucky to be there as well, and I do feel it, and we don't take it for granted, and we want to sustain that and give them joy, and then that they can feel proud about this football team, the individuals, the values that we have as a football club, and how we represent it, and then win. And if we can achieve all of that in once, then great.
Okay, James, yes,
yeah, when you talked about feeling the love from day one, have you sort of felt the need to maybe stress a bit of patience, get that message about patience, and not get frustrated by finishing second, but keeping everybody on board and look at how far you come and look at that?
I don't know, but I think it's now we finished second for the third season. In the last 3 seasons, there is one team that has been better than us in 12 points, which is Manchester City, which is the best team in the history of this league by a mile. And we are there. And Liverpool has a trophy, we don't have a trophy. We are in the Champions League semi-final for the last 16 years. And we are unsatisfied and upset. And it's not good enough. Great. Let's go for the next thing. But I think we're in the right trajectory, hopefully.
Okay, last couple. Phil from PA.
Hi, Mikel, just sort of following on from that, do you feel that the fans are still 100% behind you and this group of players?
That's what I feel, but I don't know. The ones that I see every day in the street, the ones that they contact me, the ones that I see today, I would say that 100%. But they want more because we have set expectations, and they've seen the team that is capable against any opposition to compete against them. So we need to believe that we're going to do it together.
Okay, finally, Nick from Haters.
Mikel, talking of injuries, you made 3 sort of significant substitutions with Kai Havertz coming on, Kieran Tierney and Jorginho. Just a word on those players and your thoughts on them.
Well, the first one because of an injury of Willie. I think he felt something in his hamstring in the first half, unfortunately, so we had to make the substitution. And with the other 2, Kai, I mean, he's been incredibly fast in his recovery. I think the doctors were a bit easy too early, but he's been pushing it, and he thought he could help the team. And with Kieran as well, you know, he had a very special circumstances, the way he had to come back and settle in the team again after 4 months out. And he's been really good with the group, and he has contributed in every possible way to help us, and very grateful for that.
And quite emotional for them as well, because possibly their last games.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a few in that dressing room that probably is going to be the last time that they put that shirt at the Emirates. So I've been there and make sure that we are close to them, and I'm very grateful to them as well.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Relief, is that the main thing? People were talking about a scenario, you and I on the show a couple of weeks ago, where if that form had continued, the unthinkable of, after all the efforts, not guaranteeing Champions League football.
Yeah, obviously, it's just like it's scant consolation for how tough the season's been for us.
But it's very important for the club, though.
Absolutely. Isn't it? You know, I was going to say, you know, it's a necessity for the club and what they're trying to do. Obviously, they want to win the Premier League, they want to win the Champions League, and I think at the moment the squad is nowhere near deep enough to actually go into both of those with the confidence of winning them. But like they've another good go in the Premier League, and they gave it a great go in the Champions League. So, like Declan mentioned there about the summer, I think it's going to be quite important this summer. Andrea Berta's got a lot of work to do in respect of bringing in, whether it's the striker or a forward or defender, whatever he's bringing in, to try and bolt onto this team, because the last step is the most difficult step to take, and it seems like we're just having problems taking the last step, whether it's injuries or, you know, decisions go against you early on, whatever it is, dropping too many points from winning positions. Those things happen in the season, and what you've got to do is you've got to try and limit those, so as then you can continue to move forward. So, you know, it's tough. It's a tough season to take, but you will take being in the Champions League. You absolutely have to take it.
Is it fascinating to see how Arsenal operate now? New sporting director with money to spend, where and how they go about strengthening.
Well, it's a big summer, I think, for Arsenal. I really do. I think it's, you know, they're falling off a wee bit. The title race, obviously, that Liverpool had done a few weeks ago, didn't he? I think that'll hurt Arteta, that they didn't run it all the way to the wire. I think that'll be a thing. But again, a new sporting director, he'll want to make his mark on the football club in the summer. And I think there is spaces to be filled in that squad. Where they're going to be, I mean, the striker for me is the obvious one. You know, talking about
That's the hardest one.
Zubimendi perhaps coming in as well. I mean, Raya's done brilliant. Both centre halves are a necessity to keep hold of them as well. It's about keeping hold of some of your best players as well, not letting them go. But again, it's going to be an interesting summer what Arteta and the powers that be do.
And we've touched on this before with the centre forward, that with the money it's going to cost them, whoever they might get, the percentage chance of getting it right has to be high, doesn't it?
It does. This is why, again, the experience of Andrea Berta is going to come in, because we've seen strikers come in for 60 odd million, 70 odd million, 85 million, and it not work. So you are taking a chance, and I think that Arsenal will have to take a chance. I think it's going to cost them a lot of money, and I'm not sure that the person that they get, the player that they get, is going to be under pressure. Let's face it, everybody. We're talking about 7 years. Arsenal having a striker. I think it's Aubameyang. So this striker is coming in with everybody continually talking about Arsenal needing a striker for the last few years, which you have to say, yeah, they probably would have won a few more games with an out-and-out striker. But it's something that we've had to deal with, and hopefully, like I say, in the summer, we can get somebody that is not just potential, but is gonna hit the ground running, because I think that's what Arsenal need now.
Yeah, I'm fascinated in not obviously just his numbers, his goal scoring record, his talent, but mentality-wise, because whoever they get will be a player the fans have craved for 6-7 years.
Yeah.
That's some weight to carry on your shoulders, isn't it?
But you know, the thing is, as a striker though, Steve, when you're coming in, you know that your main responsibility is to score goals. So I don't think if you're going to get the right calibre of player, he's going to come in thinking, oh my gosh, this club is desperate for a striker, I have to strive to hit. You're just going to come in, and the chances that Arsenal create, and we've seen it for years now, and chances missed, because there's not an out-and-out goal scorer. If you get the right-minded striker that comes to Arsenal, he will be licking his lips with the amount of chances that he can get. And so then you get that player, he'll come in and he will score goals. So it won't be a problem for him to come in and feel the pressure of that, because Arsenal are capable of creating chances for that kind of striker to take. And that's what you want. You want a striker who's ready to go.
I was just going to ask Ian about, would you prefer a striker that's played in the Premier League already, like proven in the Premier League, or is it a risk to bring someone from abroad?
I think it's a risk, whatever happens.
What would you go for?
I'd probably... No, I go for the quality. The quality and the amount of goals that they are capable of scoring. Depending on the team that they're playing for, how many chances the team make, how many half chances can they take, good left foot, good right foot, can they run? You know, you want somebody who is hitting the target regularly, frequently. That's what you look for more than anything else, because then you've got a team like Arsenal who can create chances. You give it to that person who can hit the target. You know, then you're probably going to get some goals there, because that's what I think we need. We're not a million miles away.
Declan, job done, Champions League confirmed. I can see from your face, did that take every last scrap of energy and resilience you've got left in your body?
Yeah, everything. Look, we've been poor by our standards the last few weeks in the Premier League. We obviously went so hard in the Champions League that our form dropped in the Premier League, and you know that happens sometimes. But Newcastle is such an informed side, and we've lost 3 games to this year, and the manager's message before the game was clear. You know, take it personal, and I think we did today. I think first half it's a bit of a slow start, but we grew into the game, and in the end we showed that grit. And 3 points at home last day. It was a nice day to top it off.
When you've had that moment where, as you say, you've dropped and maybe your focus has gone on the Champions League, how hard does it then become to pick it up and try and regain your top level?
Listen, we're Premier League footballers. We have to be at the level every single week. It was that we felt like we had such a good chance in the Champions League that obviously we had the momentum with that, and obviously with the league it kind of slipped away a few weeks ago. So it was really tough to take, you know. But today to win was massive, and obviously Newcastle is such a good side. So to win was a big win for us.
I mean, you've always had the odd long-range goal in your locker, but it's sort of turned out in the last month or so that you're very good at shooting. It's another great finish.
And about time I started scoring frequently.
That's 9 goals, 10 assists, your best numbers in both.
Yeah, no, I like that finish a lot, where I can whip it on top of the ball across the keeper, and it was a special moment. I'm really, really happy.
Last one then, because the thank you banner for the fans is out behind us. How do you reflect on this season, Declan?
Difficult, really difficult. After coming so close last year in the Prem, this year we was, by our standards, poor, let's be real. And obviously to go out of every other cup competition and Champions League, with the team we've got, the manager we've got, we need to be competing for titles. We can't be taking anything for granted. And but next year we'll be back for more. Hopefully, we strengthen in the summer. We sign more players, because we're probably going to lose a few as well. So, yeah, we're going to come back next year, be ready, be stronger, and even more hungry to win something for this club. And that's what we all want.
Well done.
Goal of the season, his best goal scoring season continues, just one away from double figures. Where would they be without Declan Rice?
Well, I thought his interview at the end there, Steve, was very good, very honest, very concise in what he's saying. Because the disappointment's there for everyone to see, because we've had another good go in the league, but like he said, we kind of took our eye off the league, trying to get the Champions League. And I think when you look back at the draws that we've had and the 21 points, I think it's something like 21 points from from winning position that we've lost. You know, Steve, that you can't. I don't think you can do that when you're trying to win the league, and even when you're trying to go for the Champions League. You can still play half decent in the Champions League and get there, but like in the league, you can't step off at all. And I think that those draws in the end, with some of the decisions, with the injuries, of course, it kind of factors in. But I think that listening to Declan saying that we go again next year, some people will go in the summer, which I know will happen, and some people will come. It's just going to be vitally important summer for us this summer coming.
Yeah, 14 draws this season, which is their most ever in a 38-game season, Arsenal.
And that sort of strikes me as we talk about a focal point in the team and a out-and-out striker who's going to get you goals, who makes a difference between a point and 3 points. I mean, Wright is up next to one of the best strikers in the Premier League, so he would know that. They create some great chances. And even a couple of times we're watching the game off air, you know, a Trossard or whoever, Martinelli's wide, they don't even cross it because the natural number 9's not in the box. Do you know what I mean? Someone who gives them that focal point. I know Havertz came off the bench, which is a positive, but again, he's not an out-and-out striker. I think, watch this space, they have to sign a number 9 in the summer, and I'm sure Arteta will.
Yeah, we'll come back to that in a moment. But Declan talking there about how he likes that finish. It was a lovely finish, wasn't it, after Anthony Gordon had lost the ball?
Again, he made it look quite simple, but again, it was good. It's much better closing down. You can see them in and around. So as soon as he loses it, I was really pleased for Martin Odegaard because I believe he picks him out here. But Declan's coming onto it perfectly. You see, it's almost like a short backlift because what you need to do is, like he said, you want to hit a top bit and really whip across the ball, and you can see it there with the two midfielders from Newcastle, how they've vacated that space, and now Declan with Harvey Barnes there, he should be getting tighter to him. But once he comes onto it, he's leaning over it, and Stephen, watch how he whips his leg. Watch how he whips it there. See, it doesn't even go past him. He's just like almost stops in the strike when you watch it, and that is what he gets the power in the whip there. What, you see the stop? Wham! So he doesn't even like, look, there it is. Brilliant goal, and that's just great technique.
It's difficult for a keeper as well, Steve, because you're set, like, he can go either way there, and it's just as Righty said, that last bit, the way he whips it, you're set and you think he maybe go near post, but the whip as well gets some extra power, and it's always leaving, like Pope, he can't get there. It's a brilliant finish. We're just looking at the back three of Newcastle, I'm just looking at the defensive side of it. We think they can maybe press the ball. When Odegaard pulls it back to Rice, I think the centre-halves have to come flying at him. Of course, Harvey Barnes switches off as well. He's more an offensive player. He doesn't have that defensive mindset. It's a poor goal for Newcastle, but take nothing away from Declan Rice in the finish. It's a brilliant finish.
Yeah, and it came, as it said, with Anthony Gordon having possession of the ball.
Yeah, Anthony was quiet today. Actually looked a bit leggy. I mean, Righty mentioned about players coming to this part of the season. They've had a long season. He looked a bit leggy at times, and again, he gave it away in a really dangerous area. We look at you mentioned the two midfielders, Bruno Guimaraes and of course Sandro Tonali are dragged over to that side. To give you balance in midfield, one of them should actually be in that space, you know, covering where Rice is going to sort of latch onto. And again, we highlight Harvey Barnes here. He likes to get forward. He's no intention of getting back into defend, and he sort of jogs back into position. And Declan Rice's eyes just light up, don't they, when he sees that space? There's no one anywhere near him. But again, I think the centre half at that point, when they see there's no one there, someone has to come flying out, ready, doesn't he, try and get the block.
Because you need someone right in Declan's space, because like you rightly say there, the goalkeeper, he can go either way, because he's coming onto it this way, Steve. He can whip it there, or he can, like you saw, whip it quickly back inside himself. But if you've got a defender in front of you, the worst ways is that it might hit the defender. He might miss kick it. He might go the other way. You need someone in the way so as it can distract. You know what I mean? Trying to whip it in that way or whip in that. You need the goalie needs somebody in the way to block it.
55th minute. The game was locked in a tense stalemate. That's when it happened. Martin Odegaard finds space, slips it to Declan Rice 20 yards out. One touch, one shot, pure quality. The ball curls into the far corner, leaving Martin Dubravka rooted. The Emirates erupted. Arsenal 1, Newcastle 0, and it stayed that way. Let's not forget, Arsenal needed David Raya in that first half. Bruno Guimaraes, denied. Harvey Barnes, blocked. Dan Burn and Sven Botman, stopped cold. Newcastle were flying out of the gates, and all without their top scorer Alexander Isak, out with a groin injury. But Raya kept Arsenal afloat until Rice produced that winner. Arsenal now have 71 points, and only Manchester City can match them. But the Gunners have a vastly superior goal difference. That means Champions League football is confirmed, and second place is nearly wrapped up. Their last match, a trip to already relegated Southampton. Even a draw seals second spot. It's been a rocky few weeks. No home wins since April 1st, but this win matters. Captain Odegaard was honest after the match. We have to admit we've not been good enough in the league. It's true, no trophies again, and they've fallen short of Liverpool in the title race. But moments like Rice's goal show that this squad is building something, and another season in Europe's top competition is another step forward under Mikel Arteta. It's now 9 goals and 10 assists this season for Declan Rice. Only Bukayo Saka has more goal involvements for Arsenal. This wasn't just a great goal, it was a statement from a player who's been immense all season. From West Ham captain to Champions League playmaker in one season. Arsenal are back in the Champions League, Declan Rice is thriving, and Mikel Arteta has another shot to build his legacy. But the big question remains, will next season finally bring a trophy? Like, subscribe, and drop your predictions for Arsenal's 2025 campaign in the comments. You're watching Sport Lab, where football's future meets the moment.